Good morning, Freetown. Good morning, Sierra Leone. Welcome to Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV TV and radio on FM 101.7. My name is Bokari Matia.
And I am Alimati Judge. Whether you're watching or listening to us from the provinces or in the capital city on Channel 33 or on DSTV Channel 399 from across Africa, you are most welcome.
But of course, you can also watch us online from around the world on this beautiful day. Today is the 26th day of June 2026.
We're broadcasting live from the top of Tower Hill in the heart of the city. Send us your comments through our socials on the AYV News Facebook page on the stories that we cover this morning.
I'm talking on the stories we're covering here this morning. Today on Wake Up Sierra Leone joins the rest of the world to commemorate the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking to strengthen action towards world free of substance.
For Sierra Leone, however, this day is no longer a routine reminder. It is a critical battle cry, as the nation is currently gripped by an unprecedented substance abuse crisis, driven heavily by rampant spread of kush, tramadol, and illicit synthetic drugs that are ravaging the youth.
And of course, the day has been themed World Drug Problem, Persisting Issues, New Challenges and Innovative Responses. We'll discuss the fight against drugs in Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone Film Industry Labor and Marketing Guild, Sierra Leone Film Guild, last week launched its National Strategic Development Plan 2026 to 2030 at the Miata Conference Center in Freetown, marking what industry leaders described as a historic turning point for the country's creative sector and the theme, building a sustainable creative economy through film. We will discuss this move.
And of course, Olubusola E. Bankole, a Vitiligo activist, model and LLB in international law, will be speaking on the importance of World Vitiligo Day, dismantling societal stigma, promoting medical education, and advocating for patients' confidence and empowerment. But
before all that, let's get a quick message from our sponsors, Wakeup Commercial Bank and other advertisers, and we shall be right back with you. Stay with us.
More and more people are using Wakeup SIM Copper Plus in their everyday lives. Did you hear that? She just transferred money for her daughter's school fees. And this man just paid for some products. Ah, Mr. Abu, are you sending money to your wife again?
Yes, like Wakeup SIM Copper.
Ah.
Yes, like having money in my pocket.
Ah, excellent.
Thank you.
He just bought some eggs. The world is digital, so keep up with the times. Have you got a payment to make? If so, just download Wakeup SIM Copper Plus now. You can download the Wakeup SIM Copper Plus app from Apple iStore and iPad or Google Play Store for Android users. You see, it's fast, safe and reliable.
Sorry, car, go see some business partners.
You didn't give me memory, Michael. Can if I can say you give me this people not to in day. Today you pay me my money. I don't send it for let you help me send money in Ghana. 2 weeks now you not send me money and 10 you not give me back my money. Today, give me my money.
You know ever sabi goodness in life. I send back your money, but trust me, today na the very last day I ever send money for now.
I don't need your help because I don't know so with Afri money. I able send money. Now Baku Africa countries them. With Afri money, we able send money to over 10 African countries, whether it's Ghana, Gambia, Liberia or Kenya. If me party know this, we not follow the party grammar right now.
Okay, una go regret. I mean now una go regret.
The best part right now, Michael, with Afri money, you dey able send money even if you not use app, even if you know the online directly. All you need for do is just a dial *161#. Pam, your money don't go. So I don't need the help again. Thief man.
Thank you.
Send money to over 10 African countries instantly with Afri Money. No stress, no excuses. Just dial *161*1*6# now. Afri Money, quick and easy.
Every day feels better with peace of mind, and peace of mind starts with preparation. Unexpected moments can happen anytime, but with the right insurance, you're always one step ahead. At J-Man Insurance, we help you protect what matters most: your life, your family, your future. Don't wait for what if. Prepare for what's next. Get covered today and move forward with confidence.
Feels good to see your face again. It's been a very crazy day. The joyous feeling in the air when rain falls on a sunny day.
Happy, yeah. Let the stars, let the roll.
Enjoy life's little pleasures with Maltina. Maltina. Share happiness.
As mama, I always want waiting best for me picking them, especially when it comes out waiting them for eat and drink. Now this make I always they choose Sarah juice because they make come from with local foods them and nutritious, and it gets less sugar than the other drinks them. Not to me say so.
We lab test show say Sierra juice gets 50% less sugar than the other drinks them na the market.
Because we mama they know waiting best for we picking them, now you make we always they choose Sierra juice. Sierra juice and nutritious, it healthy and it's sweet. Sierra juice, not the taste of Salome.
Fellow Sierra Leoneans, on 8th August 2024, Statutory Instrument Number 8 of 2024 regarding the conduct of nationwide population and housing census was successfully laid in Parliament. On 29th August 2024, this statutory instrument became effective following 21 days from its laying. Therefore, in line with the decennial census calendar, I am pleased to announce that my government will conduct a nationwide population and housing census.
It's 2026, we dey get with census. Make all man tell him famble them, and responsibility for bring development. Make all man tell him famble them. From the east to the west, blah blah blah. From the north to the south, no matter how you dare or you try, blah blah blah. Mama or papa, blah blah blah. One pikin or grandpa, blah blah blah. Auntie or uncle, blah blah blah. May they call you, yeah. One people, one nation. May they call you, yeah. Now we know back up bills alone. May they call you, yeah. No person say you not here. May they call you, census go make you get the access. For make you go vote now this land. Let the all you. If you don't want make them country again, make them creep you. Cause this time you're salon for us.
See what you better say, Kekabo Aduo. We bring good news, salon people here. Census don't come again. We ready for contact, sky from the young to the old. Say the census go help make development day. Allow me them continue till you know go pay. It go help plan more schools, hospital and light, even water for you community. Who say you there?
They come to you, yeah. One people, one nation. They come to you, yeah. Now we know back up in salon. They come to you, yeah. No person say you not here. They come to you, yeah. They don't come to you, yeah.
Census they come, the other we cooperate. Tell mama and papa, then get for country all, yeah, make we all ready. Census go help for make we know we serve, and who say we stand. If you claim say you love salon, who say development day, that day you for day.
Yambo tegina, mimbo tegina, mingo te teke biambe. Ka 2026, census na me right, census na you right. Family. Imagine if they count everybody that left you out.
Amulemba kotumogbawa, upoka kufuninge sagbele tuwa. Konya, ye amubuji hule panda. Wabulo letobogbawa bayaganga. Ye tumogbawa mudagbe behave. Kometi ya go salon bate mukweleva. Nyabi yina na metobogbawa na. Do mama kome kolabo gonya delega yina.
Kakotone dim ding dang, dim ding dang, dim ding dang. Katap kata ting angabe kata bonkel, angabe kata panganda yer. Abagato bagats, aindo gor. Agalene, zamojamu, agatamu, tarentamu. Donye, mama marita kangontu.
Amiya timi wandi, timi wandi. Amiya timi wandi, timi wandi. Mwa Kongo tami wandi, ewa menda milwena wo. Ya Kongo tabi wandi, ungeba handa bebe holo.
From the east to the west, blah blah blah. From the north to the south, no matter how you dare or you try, blah blah blah. You want to go, mama or papa, blah blah blah. One picking on grandpa, blah blah blah. Auntie or uncle, blah blah blah. Motibe, may they come to you, yeah. One people, one nation, may they come to you, yeah. Now we know back up in salon, may they come to you, yeah. No person say you not here, may they come to you, yeah. May they come to you, yeah.
Welcome back. A quick reminder, this is Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV TV and radio here in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Now, every year on June 26th, the global community observes the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking to strengthen action towards a world-free and substance abuse globe. For Sierra Leone, however, this day is no longer a routine reminder. It is a critical battle cry as the nation is currently gripped by an unprecedented substance abuse crisis driven heavily by the rampant spread of kush, tramadol and illicit synthetic drugs that are ravaging the youth.
This epidemic is tearing through communities, straining our healthcare system and stealing the potential of our future leaders. Addressing this requires shifting away from social stigma toward evidence-based prevention, international border protection, and compassionate rehabilitation.
Sierra Leone must urgently unite to dismantle trafficking networks and reclaim the health, dignity, and security of its citizens. Now, the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking has been themed World Drug Problem, Persisting Issues, New Challenges, Innovative Responses. So this morning, to talk about the day, we have in our studios Habib Tiagori Kamara, Executive Director, Social Linkages for Youth Development and Child Link. And we also have in our studios Dr. Kenny Goba, Resident Department of Psychiatry, Sierra Leone Psychiatric Teaching Hospital, Kisi, Freetown. And also in our studio too, we're expecting Samuel Duba, Director of Drug Prevention, Education and Training for the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. We'll come back to you guys in the studios very shortly. But first, let's take a report from the region as we start with Bo. And as we observe the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, attention is once again being drawn to the devastating impact of substance abuse on families and communities and the nation at large. The day serves as a reminder of the urgent need for prevention, treatment, recovery, and collective action against the growing threat of illicit drugs. Though the nationwide alarm over the use of daily synthetic drug appears to have quietened down a bit, many communities across Sierra Leone continue to grapple with the lineaging effect of substance abuse. In Bo, this year's celebration has taken a different tone because people like Ahmed Bokari believe that if progress must be made in the fight against the use of harmful synthetic drugs and illicit trafficking, then focus should be on capacitating the substance abusers and taking firm decision on traffickers. Our reporter Emmanuel Amara Saidu from Bo has more on the story on this year's commemoration.
Observed globally since the 26th June 1989, the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking serves as a global reminder of the urgent need to prevent substance abuse, strengthen rehabilitation efforts, and support those affected by drug dependency in Sierra Leone. Though the nationwide alarm over the use of deadly synthetic drugs appears to have quietened, communities still struggle with the effect of substance abuse. And behind closed doors, many young people continue to struggle with addiction and the stigma that follows recovery. Across Bo City, the commemoration of this year's International Day Against Drug Abuse has taken a different turn because people like Ahmed Bokari believe that permanent recovery from substance abuse should be backed with the capacity building of the victims.
The focus is to how we can empower young people that are into drugs to see how best we can integrate them back into society. Because the goal is to see that we make sure they have peace building with themselves and the family, and also to learn the skill that they can use to hone on, so that way they can have a sustainable form of income, and at the same time they can recover and focus on how best they can integrate themselves to make themselves a better person in the society. So specifically the focus is 3 skills training. We're going to focus on soap making, gara tie dyeing, and also we're going to focus on hairdressing. And after which, when they are done with the skill training, the next thing is going to be, we're going to give them a startup kit, so that way they can go into society being empowered, getting all the things that they need to start in the real world. And I'm hoping that peace will be built within the participants among themselves and the family, and also they'll be empowered by getting the skills which they are going to learn, and they can come back, give to the society, and also be of good use to themselves and to their families as well. So my message is, I'm also a young person, and I believe in you all, irrespective of the fact that you've been turned into taking drugs, specifically Kush. It's not by your choice, because the country that we are into, we have a lot of challenges with our social determinants of health. And these are some of the key factors we have to focus on, where many people have been dragged into the situation that we're into. So I believe in you all, and I hope that you'll be able to make a positive change.
For many, the use of harmful synthetic drugs is more than just a crime. It is a thief of dreams, a destroyer of families, and a menace that robs young people of opportunities and a brighter future.
The issue of drug and substance abuse don't increase. And to popular Monday, including women who want that, not lost their lives. And their lives are already lost. A big gap. So when people don't die, For don't be people, we for don't change, let the things, if they for don't stay alive. So therefore, we will still be alive. Make we know see. Until we don't make them and we don't die. Until we will stop. Drugs and substance abuse are good for your health, not good for life.
Push don't damage a lot. We brothers then, even we come to woman, they would see how then they struggle on the streets. As a disabled person, first time they sit down, they get helpers there for push we. But now, for let you get somebody where you pass now the road, say can't push me, it's not easy. Because the youths they all don't go into push, they don't damage them. You when be afraid for let them not push you. Because then go left for push you, then go for don't tap you. That now one whole disadvantage what they facing right now. So it don't damage a lot of brothers and sisters in the country. Your message what I get from my brothers and sisters, the way they in the habit of this push are the advice una. For let una stop, it's not good for the health. It they make you die quick. It they make you lost value in the society. So I they ask for una turn una back there and face the future. Like me especially, I don't vow today. Say anytime I see somebody they sell kush or tramadol, I they expose them because of the damage where it creates. Not only for the person particular where they buy the drugs, but for the nation.
Both recovering substance users shared emotional accounts of their journey through addiction, describing the pain, isolation, and the setbacks they experienced.
Kush, it distress me. It distress me also. It make a distress me also. A lot. I get to picking. It make a forget about them. Picking and there no one knows say if I get picking. But thank God today, where I don't get myself back. The one that whether they sell kush, let them stop for sell kush. Because why? It's not fine. Now kill let they kill you. We don't they ask like they don't kill you.
How it starts, like now one day I sit down, like I became stressed. One of the colleagues who be done sit to us, he go university, then while they meet up there. He say, what they do now? I say, hey, my sister, say home to this hour for my sit to us and he will get help. And I say, okay. We talk. But it was a slap on my face because the kind of condition we meet me into. Yes, myself I be really ashamed for talk to her. So the stress make I can't take the drug, begin smoke. I say, hey, boy, this me party will be done. See, I get sense pass. I say, look, I'm now. They work fine side. They can stress, you know. I begin take the kush. I want for tell me company the way that they pay the drug when they left her because the drug na harmful drug and the lead person for do. But who for the funny things then where you're not supposed to do? Because I even be going on the streets for that hustle just for that get me surviving no more because since thief back way thief they beat you, they molest you. But since me na home so I be they use that influence when it's car go on the streets I hustle just for that get me surviving. So the drug is very harmful because it make I deteriorate, I become old woman. Yes. In the way where I'm not supposed to do.
As Sierra Leone joins the rest of the world in commemorating this day, the residents of Bo are calling for stronger partnerships among government institutions, civil society organizations, community leaders and families to tackle the root causes of substance abuse and support those on the path to recovery. Because the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking remains a shared responsibility. Emmanuel Amara Saidu reporting from Bo.
Right, many thanks to Emmanuel Amara Saidu there from Bo. Now we return to our studios. Welcome back. In our studio we have Habib Tagoi Kamara, Executive Director, Social Linkages for Youth Development and Child Link, and also Dr. Kenny Goba, Resident Department of Psychiatry, Sierra Leone Psychiatric Teaching Hospital, Kisi, Freetown. And in our studio too, we're expecting to have Ibrahim Samuel Duba, Director of Drug Prevention, Education and Training for the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency of Sierra Leone. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome to UIV.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Doc, let's start off with you. You've seen the before coming into the studios, there are real concerns from what I would categorize as survivors who've survived drugs so far. But there's always the risk of relapsing or going back. When you look at the youthful population we have now in Sierra Leone, and the people that come to the hospital that you treat, would you say we have a drug problem, or is it a psychosocial problem that we have, that we are exhibiting through drugs?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Mr. Presenter, Dr. Kinegoba. The question, we have both. We have both psychosocial problems and we have drug problems. The psychosocial problems are many, evidence in our environment, in our societies, party, a lot of this drug availability in the community. Young people are unemployed, they don't have something to do, and so on and so forth. And then this has led them to the use of drug. And many of them has developed drug problems. It's not all of them. Not everybody that use drug that has drug problem, but many of them has developed drug problems. The reasons are because some of the drugs now they are using are very potent and they can affect the brain. And so not only the brain, other part of the body. So we have both of these problems.
What are some of the common cases that you see? What substance is mostly abused by young people?
The commonest drug currently abused in Sierra Leone is kush. We have over 60% of our patients admitted in the hospital suffering from kush drug problem, particularly disorder due to the use of kush. And there are so many other disorders within that category. And the other common one is now tramadol. In fact, tramadol is becoming more common than kush, because a lot of people who have been using kush have seen it to be a problem, and so they are shifting to tramadol, thinking that it's more better than the kush. But tramadol too is more, addictive, dependable, even more than like the kush.
Doc, most of what we see from the physical destruction of kush might probably be the sore, or the incapacity to walk around, or even the sleep and slumber. What exactly does kush do to the brain?
Well, kush is one of the psychoactive substances. What I mean is that when you take this drug, it actually work on the nervous system in the brain and in some part of your body. So what does this drug do is that it goes and stimulates some of these nerves in our brain. And one thing to note is that kush is not only made up of one chemical. It's a cocktail of many other drugs. And they depend which factory or which company or which most of these companies or whatever factories that are producing this drug depend on which component they are using. So the effect on the brain depends on that chemical they are using. So you can't really pinpoint, but one of the things, the drug has some, kush is one of the cannabis, like marijuana, that was found in the Asia, Asia, this Afghanistan and Pakistan, spread all over Europe and America. It's being used for its calming effect, make you relax, enjoy yourself, particularly people who do hard job, want to relax, or who are in their leisure period, they want to relax. But the current one we have here is not that one that was used previously. This is now like a synthetic form with some natural plants mixed together. And so it depends. And the effect mostly is the same, But the problem now is the side effect of these drugs. that are creating the problem. Reduce your blood pressure, suppress your respiratory system, and also even suppress your immune system, decrease your cognition. All of these things, they are problems because that's how the drug works. You use it for a particular purpose, but it has a lot of side effects because it stimulates other nerves in the brain that will produce effect that is not what you use it for. You understand? I will call those things side effects of the medications. So these all you see are all as a result of the side effect of the medications, because suppress your cognition, your judgment, and so you don't take care of yourself, suppress your blood pressure, and then blood flow to some part of your body become compromised, and then you have a wound, you don't heal. Poor nutrition, you don't bath yourself, and so on. Infections accumulate. If you have a wound, healing becomes a problem. So all of these things, so.
How closely are drug abuse and mental health related or connected? I'm asking because back in the days, if someone takes drug, the next thing you'll hear is, this person don't craze. Now you see people taking drugs, they are dying physically. We're not seeing too much of crazy people and athletes because as a result of drugs. It's actual death. Some people die, miserably. So how closely related is this drug problem that we have, and the types of drugs that are associated with mental illness?
Okay, so, it's a two-way approach. We call it two-way street. One leads to the other, you understand? Mental illness can lead to drug abuse. Drug abuse, too, can lead to mental illness. The two. People with mental illness can abuse drugs because they use this as a way of medication. Whilst people with drug abuse can also develop mental illness. And there are various forms of mental illness that you can get from drug abuse. Dependency is one of the commonest, drug disorder, drug problem. You become used to the drug that you don't have control over it, and that even when you want to leave it, you can't leave it because the effect, when you stop it, can be so immense that you will not want to bear that effect. So you go to it, and when you take it, you feel okay. So, and then you will begin to do things that are not of you just to satisfy that drug use because you don't want to get those effects. And it will reduce your personality, definitely, and you will not care about it. Even when people see this effect on you, you are not worried. Many other problem you also get is you can get psychosis from it, where you will not be able to test reality. You don't know what is good, what is bad. You begin to hear voices which other people cannot hear, and you begin to see things that others cannot see, and you begin to neglect yourself. You don't bath, you don't this. You become very violent for things that on a normal time you don't. It's not possible.
How challenging is it for you doctors at the psychiatric home when people find different ways to get high every time? I mean, 10 or 20 years ago, we were talking about probably marijuana and cocaine, or brown. 6 or 7 years ago, we started talking about codeine, the cough syrup.
Yes.
We started talking about Pampers water. It seems as if there are innovative ways every 2-3 years to come up with, the feeling of being high or feeling high. How do you cope that, every 2-3 years there's a new invention, there's a new method of people trying to get high, involving themselves in drugs? How do you deal with that?
To be honest, it's putting more burden on the healthcare system because more people are being affected by drug abuse. And it's difficult to really cope with it because the manpower in that sector currently is not that enough. So we have a lot of influx of people with disorder due to drug abuse. So one of the things you should note is that drug abuse or drug use has so many beneficial effects. A lot of people use drugs not because they want to use it. There's so many things they use it for. As I said, medication, some for recreation, some just to experiment, peer pressure and the like. So, and then, mind you, drug is a big market globally. There are a lot of people benefiting from it. So, every year, they look at ways to produce drugs that can be, accepted by their users. So they are inventing new drugs, that will have the same effect as those other drugs. Just as I told you, Kush is not the real Kush here, but they have developed, put chemicals together that present the same way like the Kush before, even though not the same, but exactly this similar effect. So the industries, people producing these things, are also using innovative methods to create more potent drugs. And that one is a problem, it's a challenge for us, the healthcare providers, the society, government, and many other institutions. Because drug use is not something that can be easily prevented because people crave for it, people want it. People in their leisure time, they want to take something that will, make them happy. Some people, before they even go to the public, they have to take something. There are a lot of factors behind the use of drugs. So effort needs to be put in place to really see how we can handle this, in terms of preventions, in the education, awareness raising, treatment, and recovery, how we can help these people to recover, rehabilitate them, because it's not something we can underrate.
Habib, let me bring you in. Sierra Leone's drug crisis seems to be worsening despite years of awareness campaigns. What exactly do you think we're failing as a society?
Well, we are failing as a society because there is no commitment, and those that are supposed, institutions that are responsible to regulate these things, some of them are illegally for, like for the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, who has the responsibility of demand reduction, who has the responsibility of regulating and enforcing the law. As we all know, they are illegally budgeted for. That entity even do not have a vehicle to say, or let me say, logistics, who can make them to reach wherever they need to reach. So, and this has been disturbing, let me say, the regulation patterns of the country. So, and currently, Sierra Leone has a replication of our status as a country, our integrity, and our national reputations, both national and international, based on the current happenings and hands that are being pointed at Sierra Leone. And I was here a month ago, before even the seizure in Spain, Belgium, and Germany. After I presented a study of cocaine trafficking in West Africa, and Sierra Leone was pointed as a hub. After I left this radio station, a week before, we heard about Spain.
As a civil society activist, do you think they're just pointing finger at us, or we're actually a hub? Sierra Leone, I mean.
It's not pointed at finger. And with the 3 or 4 international seizures has been done, those maritime ships that left, that were arrested, left the shore of Sierra Leone. That means what the study says has been inflicting on the country. And the start of it,
2 years, 1 year, 6 months back, the Netherlands government wrote to the Sierra Leone government that they have their citizen that is in this country, and they want the Sierra Leone government to do the needful to return that person. But as I speak, nothing has happened in that direction, and that point at Sierra Leone governance, and it point at us as a country. Now, countries within...
Is it confirmed that we have that person in Sierra Leone?
The name which the Netherlands wrote the Sierra Leone government, after investigation, today is about currently 6 months, 3 weeks, when the Sierra Leone police had a press conference. They said whom they saw is an Umar Sharif, not Joss. But the Netherlands government is still saying, pointing hands on Sierra Leone. And currently, the European Union Parliament, countries that are members of European Union, has requested for the expedition of that person back to the Netherlands, or the EU stops funding in Sierra Leone. 3 weeks ago, there was a European Union Day, which was held at Country Lodge. And the EU ambassador to Sierra Leone said they have an eroding trust in Sierra Leone. So, in the past 3 to 4 weeks, I have been...
What does this mean for Sierra Leone?
It means a lot of consequence on Sierra Leone, on our health care, our health sector, our infrastructure sector. Currently, government is boasting that they have created about 23 bridges across the country. 16 to 17 bridges were sponsored by the European Union. Agriculture, healthcare. We are a donor-driven country. We rely on our donor partners to contribute towards our implementations of our activities right across the country. So, in the current situations that we are as a country, it is not just only government and concerned. It has to be everybody. But to me, it has been discouraging since this incident. Media houses has been inviting stakeholders that are in institutions who deals with drugs, from NDLA, from ONS. Since this incident, none of them has showed up to come and have their says on this topic. So where are we going as a country? Institutions, like what Obama said when he visited Ghana, he said, Africa, we have to embark on our institutions. Institutions, people that are working in institutions are paid by tax owners money, and with taxes that we are deriving. If we call them to come and have their says, they refuse to come.
Why do you think they're refusing to come?
I don't know.
Habib, if we should go by these reports that we're seeing online, and of course international media houses, and including the study that you did and presented, that are all linking Sierra Leone to, should I say, the drugs, what do you call it? Is it a mafia or cartel? In fact, they are now referring to Sierra Leone as the hub
and
in West Africa.
In this, Sierra Leone is now a transnational organized crime. Wherever magnitude of those type of drugs are coming from that type of country, that country has a trans-organized crime system. And trans-organized crime systems and the money and the magnitudes of drugs, 35 to 40 tons of drugs, and the European Union or Netherlands is saying that has been the first ever.
According to the government of Sierra Leone, you know, they held a press conference following those allegations from the Spanish authorities. They're saying the ship that left Sierra Leone left with, was it palm kernels?
Yeah, they left with palm kernels.
Palm kernels and not dogs. So, what do you say to that?
So, in that reason, is putting our police into bad repute in terms of Sierra Leone is part of trans-organized crime across globally. And if those type of things here, all the ships that has been seized in those countries, in Spain, it was palm kernel. In Germany, it is cocoa. And these are our cash crops. And we have two bigger companies in Sierra Leone that is currently producing palm oil. And this palm oil is now being exported. You have the gold tree in Daru, and you have the Sofin in Samali. That means cash crops that comes from Sierra Leone, which the police said it was the ship that left here left with palm oil. And later, they were arrested on the high sea to Spain. The commodities that was there was cocaine.
If we're to go by what the Spanish authorities said regarding that ship, or what other reports are saying, including your study, who should be held accountable?
And we have two key sectors in terms of all what is happening through the maritime. One is the maritime administration, because any ship that comes into this country could have been registered, and it has to be the purview of the maritimes. Second is the port authority, because the port authority is the host, is the hub or the harbor of any ship that is coming to Sierra Leone that could host them. If even that ship came with materials or property, has to be deposited there. And if that ship is going back, and if there are containers and other commodities, it is the port administrations and with entities within that port administrations that load that ship. What I am calling upon them, on all those ships that has been claimed to be arrested, let them show us a footage.
Mr. Habib, isn't it unjust to categorize Sierra Leone as a drug hub, or to say a narco state? I'm asking this because, as Doc said, the synthetic drugs that is produced now in Sierra Leone, the products of or components of those drugs are not manufactured here.
In Sierra Leone?
They are brought in from European countries like England, like the Netherlands, Asian countries like India. Why can't we, say India is a narco state? Why can't we say London is a narco city? Why can't we say the Netherlands is a narco country? Why do we allow Europeans to define who we are as a country? I'm asking this because the chief minister, just 5 days ago, is quoted to say that And he says that it will amount to a horrible neocolonialism for the European Union to label Sierra Leone as a narco state, arguing that the drugs in question originate from those same regions. The drugs we are having here in Sierra Leone, especially the Kush crisis we have, the components to make Kush, we do not have the factories here. We do not even have the chemicals here. They come from Europe. Why don't we say Europe is a narco continent? Why are we allowing European Union to define who we are as a country?
Because we cannot feed ourselves. We rely on these countries to cushion and budget our problem. Where you dey beg, my brother, the study we did for the ingredients where the Kush get, that highlighted 3 countries, you don't show 2. The UK, the Netherlands, and China. Now they nitazine. Kush, there was a lot of rumors going on along this country that Kush is being produced by the remains of Motaman bones, the formalin, and fingernails, fingernails removers, chemicals, and other ingredients. And my organization and my partners, I have to call upon my partners, which is the Global Trans-Organized Crime. They came to the aid of Sierra Leone because there was no money for more to do that test. And that test, the 16 geographical or administrative district, all Kush where we bought those Kush and do the first testing under the FTCS testing, after which we want a secondary, which is a professional laboratory in Spain, where you go do that test. Now 2 things comes from all them Kush then. 1, the nitazine. And my doctor here now tell me about synthetic. And the other ingredient, na cannabinol, high grade of marijuana. In Sierra Leone, we can call and allow that high grade of marijuana. And then 2 things then. But the chemical pointed at the Netherlands, the UK, and China.
So why can't we say the Netherlands is a narco state?
Because we cannot feed ourselves.
No, wait a minute.
And in terms of drug itself, has to be a cooperation. And our country has not been speaking.
Mr. Habib, isn't it irresponsible, you know, at a diplomatic stage, to cry another country down because, in your opinion, they haven't released a suspect which you think or have proof that is in that country to say that state is a narco state, and then go public with it and say that state is a narco state because they are harboring a fugitive for which we've requested and they haven't given us permission to arrest this person, so we are labeling them a narco state when the very individual is coming from their country. And isn't it hypocritical in the international
in terms of diplomatic work? I'm not a diplomat, but in terms of my own work as a civil society organization, I am part of so many organizations in globally. And in those things, we have been so silent as a country. Since this request, nothing has been said by the government.
Are politicians part of this drug cartel?
I cannot tell if there are politicians part of this cartel. But if there is silent, we have a saying, silent
means consent.
Means consent, and it means so many things. We cannot be silent in issues which they are harming your country, integrity, and reputation. Like what the Chief Minister said, I support him of what he said, but not only supporting him, institutions or requests that has been made by the international drug, international organization or other countries Sierra Leone is a signatory. And drug in the Netherlands is criminal, and in Sierra Leone is criminal. What the government of Sierra Leone could have been done, since the person that the Netherlands government requested that person is their citizens, he's just like Becca, and our own police has investigated him as, what is the name?
Umar Sharif.
Umar Sharif. They could have called the print media or the media to talk to Umar Sharif, or request the Netherlands government, we have Umar Sharif. For DNA, could have been done, but up to now. And just 3 weeks ago, there was this human rights conference in Geneva, which our Attorney General attended on behalf of Sierra Leone government with delegation. And there was another version of a meeting between Sierra Leone government and the Minister of Internal Affairs and Minister of the Attorney General of Sierra Leone and his counterpart of the Netherlands. They met there, and he has to respond, and he even has to go on social media that the Netherlands government is still requesting just like DECA. So after that meeting, the meeting even did not finished. They were in Geneva when we have this seizure in the Canary Islands in Spain. So the way how this surveillance has been picking Sierra Leone, it's not only the European Union on the Netherlands.
But is it fair on the part of Sierra Leone, wherein the Netherlands doesn't accord such request if Sierra Leone asks? The Netherlands is well known within the European Union to be a country not to reciprocate international treaties. For instance, there are fugitives or were fugitives who were involved in the Rwanda genocide incident.
They are still there. And
that are seeking refuge in Netherlands. You also have Sierra Leoneans who...
what I understand...
why aren't they reciprocating? Why are they requesting? Why can't they do the same?
Yeah, and the Sierra Leone government, based on what I understand, they requested about somebody that is in Netherlands who has created a lot of mischief in Sierra Leone. But these are international laws. And these are international treaties. And in terms of international treaties, it has to be reciprocal. If Habib needs you at AYV to be reciprocal on my request, if the AYV refuse my request, if you too, in terms request from me, this is vice versa, I will not do it. And we have something with Kabara or Adebayo, August 8 or August 11 in Sierra Leone, and he's in Netherlands. So Sierra Leone too has been requested for him to be expedited to this country. But we have not seen that. And they too now are asking upon our own government to reciprocate.
So why are they labeling Sierra Leone as a narco state?
Because we are so silent, we cannot talk as a government. Since all this incident has happened, we have a diplomatic channel, we have an embassy in the Netherlands, we have embassy in Belgium. And those people that are representing Sierra Leone, I have great respect for them. They have international and legal background. And I know our silence also creates so many things. If I'm pointing at AYVs, that AYV is doing this every day, I'm all over the media and AYV is not talking. At the end, what will people say? They will say AYV knows some things about that. Our silence in all of this has created people pointing at Sierra Leone as a narcotic state.
Okay, Doc, let me bring you in.
Yes.
So earlier on, between Bakari and Habib, they mentioned some of these components.
Yes.
For instance, the netazine, the formalin, and other stuff. Doesn't these things have their separate uses in medicine?
Oh yes, some of them are not really used in medicine.
Okay.
Some are used like the nitazine. It's not actually, it's an opioid.
Okay.
It's not really used. It's not used for humans. Like the other chemicals, like there is another one.
Cannabinol.
Cannabinoid. Cannabinoid is a synthetic form of cannabis.
Okay.
They are not producing it in the lab.
Okay.
Similar to cannabis, the same effect, and so on. Another one is xylazine. It's another drug, but it's not used by human. Approved for animal use, mostly those rearing cows.
Okay.
They use it to tame them.
Basically, they all have different purposes.
Oh yeah, they all have different purposes. Some are painkillers.
For which they're being produced.
Yes.
So it is only when people choose to abuse these things
they are
that it
actually
becomes synthetic drugs that is now illegal to use.
Sure.
Okay.
Most of them are illegal actually for humans.
For humans.
They can be used in other.
For animals and others. Yeah, I just wanted to know whether they do have a purpose that they are being produced for.
Yeah, that's what I told you, that people using drugs for so many reasons.
And so it is when they're abused that they become synthetic drugs.
Particularly,
for humans.
Most of these drugs are addictive.
Okay.
You can get hooked on it. You want to leave it now, you can't leave it, except you're being supported for you to leave it.
We're seeing disturbing videos of young people collapsing on the streets, after taking kush, whatever the names are. At what stage of the addiction do they get to that point where they will collapse?
At any stage. The collapse may come as a result of possibly overdose.
Yeah.
You understand? Or, as I said, some of these drugs, they reduce your blood pressure. If you take it in high quantity and then they drop your blood pressure, immediately you can collapse. Some can lead to respiratory depression. They suppress your respiratory system, depression, and then you can collapse from that point. So there are so many, of these things that lead to this, this collapse.
Another question.
Users.
Okay. Another question many people are asking is whether or not the psychiatric hospitals and facilities we have in Sierra Leone are well equipped to manage the growing number of drug addicts that might end up in mental illness and other related illnesses. Do we have enough psychiatric facilities in the first place? And the ones we have, are they equipped enough to take care of the growing number of addicts that we're having in the country?
Well, it will be a challenge, but we are equipped.
What about, do we have, for instance, if you say we compare from Freetown to the regions?
No. For now, Freetown is the only place that we can manage substance use disorder better. You understand? Because in other parts of the region, we only have people with mental health nurses. We don't have doctors who are really managing these cases. Most of them, they refer them to us in the psychiatric hospital because it's actually a complex problem. It's a multidisciplinary approach. So in the psychiatric hospital we have different cadres of professionals managing these people. And there is an established system, that we have currently at the Sierra Leone Psychiatric Teaching Hospital. Of course, it's a teaching hospital compared to any other teaching hospital in the sub-region. We training people to become specialists in psychiatry. So there is knowledge in managing people with mental illness. And we have other allied professionals like the clinical psychologists, the social workers, who are also knowledgeable in that area. So we have the system.
Okay.
The manpower is the problem. Also, the supply chain somehow challenging.
Okay.
In terms of medications and so on and so forth.
Okay. So you know, okay. So
due
go
to
on,
the
finish.
the increase in the incident
Okay.
of substance use.
So I've had stories and accounts from parents who are battling addictive kids at the moment, and many of them do say that they only got to know about their kids' involvement in drugs when it was maybe already too late. What are some of the signs that parents must look out for before the addiction gets severe?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Some of these symptoms that you can detect early is you begin to observe your son or your daughter, behaviors. Some of these can be secretive behavior, becoming so secret, avoiding you, or avoiding you, the parent, or other siblings, withdrawing. You see, when they take this drug, they don't come closer to people because you can detect it, because it can, manifest on them. So they tend to avoid. They tend to do secretive behaviors. They become very secret. And then they will begin to associate more with their peers. You understand? People, they take the same drug. They are the same drug they associate with them. You see, they associate with people using drugs. So when you see those things, you begin to, and then you begin to see paraphernalia around them. Like, if you search their bag, you see lighters, you see matches, you see things that are commonly, used to enhance drug using. So you do certain things, but the most important thing, and then again, you begin to see some behavioral problems like irritability, become easily irritable, disrespectful. They develop some conduct problems, which can lead to antisocial problems, behavior. If they are adolescent, conduct, they become rude, disrespectful. In schools, they can also be rude, disrespectful, transy, and so on, begin to perform poor in school. You understand? You begin to see poor performance in school. So many complaints. When you see that one, you begin to see that one. One of the things that will come into your mind, particularly when the child was that normal child behaving normal, and you now begin to see some of these things, high suspicion of substance use.
So as your parting shot, what would you say should be the early intervention when such is discovered?
Yeah, so definitely what will be the early intervention is to try to, first of all, identify, as you said, some of these things, and then make sure you don't judge them, you don't blame them for it, because as I said, these things, some of them may have reasons they are taking it, pressures, a lot of peer influence, a lot of social, so you don't blame them for using the drug, encourage them. If you do your own, home intervention, it doesn't work, try to seek help earlier. Go to the hospital, and then the medical people, healthcare providers can give the best of the treatment available. The Sierra Leone Psychiatric Teaching Hospital, we are always there, ready to.
Where is it located?
In Kisi.
Okay.
The end of Black.
Is that where they call Christian?
Yeah, we don't like to call it Christian.
We don't call it Christian anymore.
People with substance use will not go there because they will say, no, I'm not going. So we don't call it like that. They will not go there. But it's always good to go there. The place is no longer for only mentally ill people, but people with substance use, which is also a psychological problem. You can manage it there. We have so many interventions we are doing to help them. And the earlier you go, the better the outcome.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yes,
Unfortunately, we don't have more time.
Yeah.
We'll go for a short break, Wakeup, and then...
Yes, when we come back, we go into our second segment of the show.
Sorry, Carl, go see some business partners.
You didn't give me memory, Michael. Can if I can say you give me discount people in not to in Andy.
Today you pay me money. I don't send it for let you help me send money in Ghana. 2 weeks now you not send me money and 10 you not give me back me money. Today give me money.
You know ever sabi goodness in your life. I send back your money, but trust me today na the very last day I ever send money for now.
I don't need your help because I don't know so with Afri money. I dey able send money. Now Baku Africa countries them.
With Afri money, we dey able send money to over 10 African countries, whether it's Ghana, Gambia, Liberia, or Kenya. If me party we know this, we not for the party grammar right now.
Okay, una go regret. I mean now una go regret.
The best part right now, Michael, with Afri money, you dey able send money even if you not use app, even if you know the online directly. All you need for do, you just a dial *161#. Pam, your money don't go. So I don't need the help again. Thief man.
Thank you.
Send money to over 10 African countries instantly with Afri Money. No stress, no excuses. Just dial *161*1*6# now. Afri Money, quick and easy.
Every day feels better with peace of mind, and peace of mind starts with preparation. Unexpected moments can happen anytime, but with the right insurance, you're always one step ahead. At J-Man Insurance, we help you protect what matters most: your life, your family, your future. Don't wait for what if. Prepare for what's next. Get covered today and move forward with confidence.
Fellow Sierra Leoneans, on 8th August 2024, Statutory Instrument Number 8 of 2024 regarding the conduct of nationwide population and housing census was successfully laid in Parliament. On 29th August 2024, this statutory instrument became effective following 21 days from its laying. Therefore, in line with the decennial census calendar, I am pleased to announce that my government will conduct a nationwide population and housing census.
It's 2026, we dey get with census. Make all man tell him famble them. Responsibility for bring development. Make come and tell him famble them. From the east to the west, blah blah blah. From the north to the south, blah blah. No matter how you dare or you try, blah blah blah. Love you want to call mama or papa, blah blah blah. One picking on grandpa, blah blah blah. Auntie or uncle, blah 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 blah. More cheaper, may they come to you. Yeah, one people, one nation. Now For make you go join now the plan. The census go make you get the access. For make you go vote now this land. Let the all you. If you don't want make them country again, make them creep you. Cause this time you're salon for right.
See what you been a second cabo aduo. We bring good news, salon people every year. Census don't come again. We ready for control, sky from the young to the old. Say the census go help make development day. Allow me then continue till you no go pay. It go help plan more schools, hospital and light, even water for you community. Who say you there?
They come to you, yeah. One people, one nation. They come to you, yeah. Now we number go be in salon. They come to you, yeah. No person say you not here. They come to you, yeah. They don't come to you, yeah.
Census they come, do you all we cooperate? Tell mama and papa, then get for country all, do you make we all ready? Census go help for make we know we safe, and who say we stand. If you claim say you love salon, who say development day, na day you for day.
Yambo tegina, mimbo tegina, mingo tetege biambe. Ka 2026, census na me right, census na you right. Family. Imagine if they count everybody they left you out.
Amulemba kotumogbawa, ubokwa kufuninge sagbele tuwa. Tonya, ye amubuji hule panda, wabulo le tabogbawa bayaganga. Ye tumogbawa mudagbe behave, comment ya go salon bate mukweleva. Nabi yina na metabogbawa na, do mama kome kolabo ganya delega yina.
Kakotone dim din dang, dim din dang, dim din dang. Katsap katsating angkape katsakonkel, angkape.
You're still watching or listening to Wake Up Sierra Leone on AYV television and radio. Don't forget to send in your comments and ask your questions to the AYV News Facebook page. Well, next to entertainment, for the first time in Sierra Leone, charges have been brought against 4 men relating to child marriage under the 2024 Act. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice Alpha Sise says that they include the husband and the father of the bride. It follows the promulgation in 2024 of the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. Under the law, the groom, the bride's parents, and even those who attend a wedding involving a child can be jailed for at least 15 years or fined 100,000 millions or both. We're joined in the studio now by Joseph A.K. Sise, State Counsel. Good morning, Joseph, and welcome to Wake Up Sierra Leone.
Good morning, viewers.
And in another topic, the Sierra Leone Film Industry Labor and Marketing Guild, Sierra Leone Film Guild, has officially launched its National Strategic Development Plan 2026 to 2030 on Friday, June 19, 2026, at the Miata Conference Center in Freetown, marking what industry leaders described as a historic turning point for the country's creative sector.
Well, of course, the event under the theme Building a Sustainable Creative Economy Through Film brought together government officials, development partners, film makers, creative professionals, representatives of trade unions, diplomats, and international guests to witness the unveiling of a comprehensive roadmap aimed to transforming Sierra Leone's film industry into a major contributor to national development. This morning, to discuss this development, we have Actors Guild Sierra Leone President Galmo Reda, who is here to tell us more about everything relating to film. And of course, also in our studio too, we've been joined by Professor Brian Korba, and he'll be discussing his book, Hubert Harrison, Forbidden Genius of Black Radicalism. The book is a winner of the 2026 France Fanon Outstanding Book Award from the Caribbean Philosophical Association. The book is an intellectual biography of a working-class journalist, activist, and educator, Hubert Henry Harrison, who was born in 1883 and died in 1927, who generated an array of visionary solutions to the systemic injustices of his day. after blazing a trail for African-American workers and organizers in the Socialist Party of America and the Peterson, New Jersey Silk Strike of 1913, Harrison emerged as the most prominent black free thinker and free lover of his generation. He practiced armed self-defense and called for an anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist colored international alliance in the face of European colonialism in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, amongst other things. We shall be looking at that book here this morning. But we have State Counsel here with us, Joseph A.K. Sise. Good morning again and welcome to AYV.
Good morning.
Let's start off with, who are the people that were at the wedding place? I mean, this is the first indictment under this act. Am I right?
That's correct. So this is the first time we are going to court under the 2024 Act, insofar as issues relating to child marriage is concerned.
Take us through a bit of the facts of this case. Who were involved? What's the age, of the child?
So basically, the brief facts of the case. On the 17th of May this year, there was a marriage ceremony involving a 17-year-old girl, and the husband, relatives of the husband and the relatives of this 17-year-old victim were gathered at a place in Grafton. They contacted the marriage between the 17-year-old girl and the husband. At the end of the marriage ceremony, the parents and other relatives of the victim, the 17-year-old girl, were of the view that the girl was still below the age of 18 and should be allowed to complete her schooling. So they requested from the husband to allow them keep the victim until she's of age, and then she can be taken to a matrimonial home. The husband was of the view that, no, you've accepted all the traditional rights from us, we've contracted the marriage, we've concluded the marriage, and I need to take my wife with me. So some fracas ensued during that evening, and few neighbors informed the police. The police came in and arrests were made. Of course, the immediate arrest was on the husband, the relatives of the victim, and some other onlookers that were found at this particular place. Well, again, most of the other people that were there fled once the police were there. And because at that point, according to the investigations, some of them were not of the view that the girl was below the age of 17. But then, naturally, the police needed to effect arrest, and series of arrests were made, investigated, and the investigations turned out that the girl was 17 years, and she had actually been given to the husband by the parents, and there were two other relatives who had actually facilitated this particular marriage ceremony. So basically, following the end of the investigations, the file was sent to the Office of the Attorney General for preferment of legal opinion, and that was done, and we found out that the investigation had established, well, a good evidence against the father of the victim, the two other relatives who had actually facilitated the relationship up until the point of getting married, and the husband. So 4 people were eventually charged by the Attorney General under his power to charge without going through the normal criminal procedure of going to the magistrate court for committal proceedings. So he used his ex officio information power by preferring an indictment straight up to the High Court to ensure that justice is served in a timely manner, more especially when it has to do with something relating to somebody that is below the age of 18. So basically, those are the big facts.
Is this concerning for the AG? Barely over or under a year that we've had the act, intervene, and we're having incidents like this in Freetown, not even in the provinces where you'd imagine issues like this will come up. And this is happening right around a police barracks where you have law enforcers who are there. Is this concerning for the AG?
Well, so generally all criminal offenses are concerned to the AG, but this is more concerning because, as you've stated in your question, less than 2 years of the promulgation of this particular legislation, people are seen engaging in this prohibited act right in the heart of the capital city. Well, even though it's at Grafton, but then you consider Grafton to be part of Freetown, as you would have other places in the regions. So yes, And the concern is that if you can have people at Grafton or in Freetown or in the Western area still being engaged in these kinds of action, it is concerning because the AG is always of the view that this was an incident that was brought to the police. How about those other incidents that are not brought to the police? So that's the concern, and that is why we need to take this to its logical conclusion.
Are you expecting any strong defense, you know, or a defense proposal from Defense Counsel in this matter?
Well, so that's the beauty of the law. When you're charged under the laws of Sierra Leone, firstly, you are entitled to a defense counsel, and you are entitled, it's a must, you must be given an opportunity to bring forward or put forward your own defense. So clearly, again, whenever people are caught up in the middle of something that will amount to a crime or to wrongdoing, they will have their own explanation. Whether their explanation will amount to defense in law, we're waiting to see that. But what we have is strong evidence, and we are convinced that we're going to prosecute to a logical end.
The law criminalizes not only the groom and parent, but also those who facilitates or who attends the marriage. How does the prosecution determine who should be charged in this particular instance?
Well, so basically, we rely mostly on the investigations conducted by the Sierra Leone Police or line agency or ministries, and once we have the facts, we always look at the facts in line with the law. So basically, if the allegation was such that people were arrested whilst attending the marriage, we can charge them under some separate provision for attending that marriage. That in itself is an offense. If you attend a marriage, the presumption is that you're presumed to be attending a marriage between two adults and not a marriage between two non-adults or two children or a child and an adult. So once you're caught, you'll be charged. But then in analyzing the evidence, we need to go for that element that fits your particular stance. So for example, the father was attending, but then it goes beyond the mere attendance by the father. He was the person who consented to having his daughter handed over to a man, not as friends, but as a wife. So he consented, and then that in itself is very serious, other than those invited guests. An invitee can walk up to a wedding, having been invited, for example, by a parent. I mean, the parent will not tell the invitee that my daughter who is 17 is getting married, come and attend. An invitation, more often than not, will be sent, and you are there attending. Now, if the circumstances are such that you are attending knowing that this parent was your friend and this parent had a daughter who, in your opinion, should be below 18 at this stage when you've been invited to a wedding, the law is saying you ought to have known that that was a child who is about to get married. And if you're found there, we are not going to charge you for consenting, we're going to charge you for attending. The same goes for the person who is actually, in our local parlance, tying the marriage, even if it's on the customary front. If you are tying the marriage, for want of words, you can be charged for facilitating that, for ensuring that the child and an adult are getting married when that is prohibited by law. So basically, it's not a one size that fits all. It's based on the prevailing circumstances and based on the individual, for want of words again, culpability. So you're there as an invited guest who can charge you for attending. You should not be attending. Even if you don't attend, as a neighbor, if you have reason to have received an information that a child is getting married and you fail to inform the police or any other line ministry, you can be charged for that as well. So it's based on the prevailing circumstance that we can determine. And again, generally, that must have come out directly from the investigations conducted by the Sierra Leone Police or from any other institution that was involved.
Council, Sierra Leone, we all know, is a religious driven society. And for some reason, every Sierra Leonean you see has something that they believe in. I mean, you have the traditional ones who believes in their olden the olden way of worship, their gods and their shrines and the like. You have Muslims, you have Christians. And for some of these religions and these traditional beliefs, child marriage is not wrong. And for all you know, many of them in the provinces and these rural areas might not have heard about this law, the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, and therefore they might just go ahead and do these things, not knowing that they're even committing a crime. How is the AG's office engaging our religious leaders, traditional leaders, and of course, local council leaders in these communities, not just in Freetown, but in fact, I think where it is much needed in the rural areas to ensure that they don't go ahead doing these things, not even knowing they're committing a crime. I know ignorance of the law is no excuse, but I'm sure there must be some engagements to ensure that they don't do the wrong thing.
All right, so again, we don't have to go legal, but then basically there's a principle of having a law. So you don't have a law and the information contained in that law is left with Parliament. The procedure is such that once we have a legislation passed by Parliament, signed by His Excellency the President, it must be communicated to the public. And one such ways to communicate laws in the public is by having it gazetted for a particular period of time. And during that period, it is expected that information containing in that particular piece of legislation, albeit a bill at the time, should have been communicated to the citizens of the country and beyond. Now, where that leaves us, as an office, we have resident state council all across the country and the various regions. And part of their responsibility is to assist in the communication of what is contained in new provision. Be that as it may, there are few situations where you have had to reach areas and some, I don't want to use the word remote, but in some had to go places. And we might not be in a position to have engage the very last person in such communities. But then once the law has been promulgated, it's a law, it's now binding on every citizen, and as an office, the AG has been throughout the last couple of years trying to communicate provisions in recent legislations and even existing legislations. So the responsibility is not only with the office, the responsibility is also with the individuals, including our traditional leaders. So where we cannot go to the end of that particular region, we get the traditional leaders, we get other institutions that are working on justice-related issues to assist in communicating provisions of recent legislation, especially as they deal with your question with regards pluralism of the various marriages in Sierra Leone. Again, it's clear under the Muhammadan law, you can contract a marriage that is valid. Under the Christian law, you can contract a marriage that is valid. And even under the civil law, you can contract a marriage that is valid. Again, under the customary practice, you can contract marriages that are valid. But then the point is, the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act speaks to one thing. We have to prohibit child marriage. So what this act does is to repeal and replace certain portions, certain sections and subsections in those legislations, recognizing customary marriages, recognizing civil marriages, recognizing the Muslim marriages or the Christian marriages, where those provisions made some strides to accommodate those that were below the age of 18 years at the time. Mark you, these were legislation enacted way back in the 1960s, where the rights of the child was not a big thing. Under the Islamic law, children are, even under customary law, children should be protected by their custodians, by their relatives, by their guardians. And again, going back to the old law, there was a section guaranteeing the protection of the child by the guardian or the parents who can give consent for a child below the age of 18 to get married. But then with the 2024 legislation, we are saying no, that particular section was repealed. It was now replaced by a new section saying you can only give consent or you can only allow an adult to get married, even if you're doing everything for that particular adult or for that particular child. You need to wait until the child turns 18 and now an adult who can, of course, make a decision all by himself or by herself.
All right, continue to stay with us, Council. In our studio too, we have Professor Brian Korba. He'll be discussing his book, Hubert Harrison, Forbidden Genius of Black Radicalism. Good morning, Professor. Good morning, welcome to AYV.
Good morning, thank you so much for having me.
An interesting book here. I would want to know, why do you describe Hubert Harrison as a forbidden genius who forbade him, you know, from the discourse of black history, so to speak?
Great question. You know, Hubert Harrison was someone who was very influential during his lifetime in the early 20th century on people like Marcus Garvey and W.E.B. Du Bois, some of the greatest Pan-Africanists that we know. But Harrison was more radical than them, and so he basically got written out of history, which is why most people have never heard of him. So when I describe him as a forbidden genius, it's an effort to point to that fact that he was apparently too radical for the gatekeepers of history, who were able to essentially marginalize him and forget about him because of the positions that he was taking, the visionary ideas, the revolutionary strategies that he was offering in his lifetime.
And also your book argues that Harrison anticipated, you know, many later black radical movement. What ideas did he champion that were truly ahead of his time that you captured in this book?
Well, there's a lot of them. I mean, for one, he was a revolutionary thinker, and so ideas of socialism, for example, moving beyond the capitalist system that we have now, in which you have a rich few getting more and more profits at the expense of workers and poor people and the majority. He was an anti-imperialist. He saw that colonization was ruining Africa and Asia and Latin America and the Caribbean, and those are problems we're still dealing with today. He was a free thinker, and he was a free lover, as you mentioned in your introduction. He saw that there was a relationship between economic liberation, political liberation, and sexual liberation, which remains, I think, in many ways ahead of his time, or ahead of our time even, because these are questions that we're still grappling with and debating about. And that's what I really appreciated most about Harrison, is he had a multi-dimensional way of thinking, and he was able to combine a lot of different frameworks and visionary and revolutionary ideas in his way of promoting social change.
Now, people who come about change are often forgotten or criticized, especially in an era where, you know, it was white dominated. When I look at the conclusion here, page 316, I would say there's a comparison between Hubert and Nikola Tesla. You know, if you look at the science world, Tesla is like a forgotten genius as compared to Thomas Edison and the like. And you state there that this study of Harrison and his erasure raises a question. How many other crystallizer, touchstone, radical visionaries have been written out of history? Do we have those who have already or also been written out of history apart from Hubert Harrison?
Yes, I mean, that's the thing. When you study somebody who has been written out of history, you will ultimately find other examples of the same phenomenon. You know, some people are assassinated physically, like we can think of Patrice Lumumba, for example, or Amilcar Cabral, or Thomas Sankara, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. But others are assassinated from memory, or assassinated from history, in the sense that they are excluded, marginalized, and Nikola Tesla is a perfect example of that, because Tesla created an energy system that could have freed us from fossil fuels and oil and gas and coal over a century ago. And yet, because that was threatening to the fossil fuel industry and to the profitability of capitalism and those who rule it, Tesla was suppressed, his energy technology was suppressed, and then he was also kind of assassinated in memory as well. So most people have never heard of Tesla, or at least don't know about his revolutionary inventions. They think of Tesla as something related to Elon Musk, because Elon Musk owns the Tesla car company. But that company was originally named for the Serbian inventor who created so many different inventions, including an electric car. But many more than I might have time to share. But there's so many interesting figures. Once you start to peel back the layers of history, you realize there's a whole variety of people that we have never been taught about in school, or never heard about in movies or on the media. And part of the reason for that oftentimes is that they represent something that threatens the system, or threatens the powers that be, right, who rule the system, that they don't want us to know about. And this is why I think books matter so much, and why I wrote this book, is to reclaim and restore this hidden history for a new generation.
In your preface, you say, sure, I may teach it now, but believe it or not, I never liked history. As someone who never liked history, would you say you're writing history or advocacy?
I mean, yeah, it's true. It sounds strange for a historian and somebody with a PhD from Oxford in history to say I never liked history, but it's true. I never saw the relevance of history when I was in school. I never even took a single history course as an undergraduate in college. Only when I became an activist did I start to realize the value of history, because it explains the world that we have right now. And if you want to change the world that we have right now, it's very important to understand how it got to be the way it is. And history is so critical for that. So as much as this is a book of history, it's also a book that applies the history and makes it clear how relevant this history is to the world today, because I can relate to readers who might feel the same. Oh, history doesn't matter, it's in the past, it's just about memorizing names and dates, and it's boring. No, history is about drawing lessons that we can absolutely learn. Lessons about organizing social movements, fighting for political campaigns and social justice and dignity and equal rights. There's so many things that we can learn from history. I think part of why oftentimes people don't appreciate it is because it isn't taught in a way that shows the relevance. It isn't brought forward into the 21st century so that we can see how we build on the legacy and achievements of our ancestors and our forefathers and foremothers. So it's not just a work of history, it's also a work of politics, it's a work of social consciousness and awareness. It's a book about ideas. It's a book about, reclaiming some of the achievements and ideas that we've had from our ancestors, and that can push us to new vistas of possibility in the present.
What are the strongest pieces of evidence that Harrison changed the course of black radicalism? Would it be far-fetched, or would it be prudent to say movements like the Black Panther was as a result of the work Harrison put in play back then?
I mean, certainly the Black Panther Party is one of the many political descendants of Harrison's politics. But I can give you a much more close to Harrison example, which is Marcus Garvey and Garveyism, the global Garvey movement. Marcus Garvey was trained by Harrison. He was taught a whole number of strategies, including the idea of race first, including the idea of combining Africans and African Caribbeans and continental African Americans in the same organization, building a social movement rather than just an industrial school. And Garvey used all these ideas to build this massive global movement that had impacts all over the world. People like Kwame Nkrumah cited Marcus Garvey as his biggest influence. Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya. Both of Malcolm X's parents were active members of the Garvey movement. And of course, the Rastafarian spiritual tradition is in many ways inspired by some of the teachings of Marcus Garvey. So this is a global impact that Garvey and Garveyism has. And when you realize Hubert Harrison's impact on Marcus Garvey and the way he catalyzed the rise of Garveyism, you begin to see that Harrison has this ripple effect through Garvey and the Garvey movement and the larger black nationalist tradition.
Professor, does this book places too much emphasis on an individual or society at large, or can it be a mixture of both?
Yeah, it's really a mixture of both. As much as I tried to allow Harrison's voice to speak for himself in the book, I also wanted to paint a picture about the world in which Harrison was inhabiting, both at a local, national, and international level, so that people could understand why he was taking certain positions that he did. I mean, for example, Harrison lived in a time of world revolution. You have the Russian Revolution in 1917. You have anti-colonial rebellions all throughout Africa and the Caribbean. You have the Easter Rising in Ireland. So it's a time of political awakening, in part thanks to World War I, what Harrison called the White World War. And this context helps us understand why it is that Harrison can call for a colored international alliance of all the colonized peoples of the world against capitalism and imperialism, which was exploiting them for its own financial purposes. And so yes, it's about an individual, but it's also about a world that he inhabited and what we can learn from both his ideas, but also the histories of the world that oftentimes have been marginalized or excluded from our awareness.
All right, continue to stay with us, Prof. In our studio also we have Gilmore Rada, the president of the Actors Guild Sierra Leone. Gilmore, let's start off with, you know,
So the name is
Glamour, apologies, Glamour Rada, apologies.
Yeah.
This strategic development plan is being described as historic. What makes it different this time around?
Well, since the inception of the film industry, we've never got a strategic plan. So this is the very first one. So that makes it very much historic.
Mm-hmm. And what are the top 3 priorities are you looking at? You know, I see the timeline from 2026 to 2030.
Yeah.
What priorities are you looking at?
So we are looking at governance, system infrastructure, and capacity building.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that we always discuss whenever we have, you know, discussions of the entertainment, but especially the movie, is money. The movie industry is a place where you have to pour in money.
Yeah, sure.
So regardless of the talent you have, money is always important. I want to know, how does this strategy address access to finance for creatives?
Okay, so that is exactly what we've been struggling to discuss with government, to bring it to the public, because we need resources to make films. So it's really a challenge when it comes to making film in this part of the world. So that is why we launched the strategic plan to announce to the public, to the government, that we need the interference of your security to come in, because when the government steps in, it encourages and also give confidence to producers out of the country to say, okay, I think Sierra Leone is a safe place where we should go and invest in movies so that the industry can compete, because it's a very large industry and a job creation for that matter. So basically, it's actually a challenge for us in the industry to secure funds. So sometimes some of the movies that you see out there, it's based on contributions, you understand, individual contribution, actors, directors, we come together and then, you know, we put small thing and all that. So I think we are getting to the point where we kind of tired with the whole system of put together and say, okay, let us make this public so that the public will see, the government will see our plan and how they should come in and help us, because that's how it's supposed to be. And thank God the First Lady was there, and also representatives from the Sierra Leone People's Party were there, and they started off by donating some money to us, you know, and that's could eventually help us to say, okay, we have a national film office, because we need that as well. And also maybe some of the funds we can say, okay, let us have a 45-minute film and all that. So that's the importance of
How realistic is it for film to become a major contributor to the economy in the next 5 years? How realistic is it?
Well, I can give you an example.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Okonkwo in Nigeria, Nollywood industry.
Yes.
Do you know the time that he started acting?
Well, I wasn't born by then,
No,
possibly.
he was, okay, so he started acting way of, I think, 18 years of age. And he's still into acting. So it means that the film industry anywhere in the world is very much lucrative if the attention is given to the industry.
What do you think is disadvantaging Sierra Leone against other African countries like, of course, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and other East African countries? Because some of them are, well, some of these stars are, they do have the acting as a career, and it's quite lucrative. It's putting food on their table and money in their pockets. But we cannot say the same for actors here in Sierra Leone.
Yeah,
so what do you think is disadvantaging Sierra Leone against these other countries?
Well, it's the recognition. The Nollywood industry, the Hollywood, or whatever industry in the world, they have the recognition from their government. But when it comes to Sierra Leone here, we do not have the recognition, and then you have piracy and all of that. When a government recognizes the industry, where their children actually try to showcase their talent, it gives the outsider investor to say, okay, I think there is protection in that place. So that is why you're seeing Netflix flooding in Nigeria, and other streaming platforms are flooding in Nigeria, because they know that, okay, the government, however, has recognized the industry. So there is some kind of protection. But here it's just losing. Everything is up to us. You understand? So there is that thing that we need that's called protection from the government. So the moment we have that protection from the government, and then money will start flowing in.
And you're certain?
Yes, I'm very much certain. I give you an example. We've been conducting meetings or seminars on our own. But you see bloggers, when you invite bloggers, media houses, they refuse to post. But when we launched this strategic plan, the First Lady attended. So because of the First Lady attended, everybody was posting, the bloggers, the media houses. So that tells you recognition is paramount in this.
What would you say about female actors who complain about sexual harassment in the film industry?
Okay. I will not deny the fact that such things don't happen in an industry.
I had my share of that when I was much younger, so I just decided no.
Okay, so that was why at then there were no structures. So that was why we tried to come in with structures like Actors Guild, which I am providing leadership for. When we say Actors Guild, it means the organization that represents to seek the welfare of actors. So if you have a problem with a producer, or just as you mentioned, sexual harassment, and then you now have a body to complain to. And this body, before those things happen, and then it is our duty and responsibility to advocate for such things not to happen.
Have you addressed any such issues so far since the body has been found?
I have to be honest with you, no.
So, and you think it's efficient?
The
body, the mechanisms in place to prevent sexual harassment in the film
Yes,
industry?
most definitely, because every professional now has its own labor union, the directors, the producers, and we are talking these things like we don't need these things to be happening in the industry.
Okay, Council, let me bring you in. So, this is a new act, and this is going to be your first trial. This is the first time you go into court under this act. What are some of the challenges you face so far in enforcing laws with regards to child marriage?
So generally, laws relating to child victims that are found within the family space or within smaller communities, the most important challenge we face, or we've been facing over the last couple of years in prosecuting issues relating to those kinds of setting, is the willingness of witnesses to participate in such trials. And again, without the participation or willing participation of such witnesses, it tends to defeat the outcome or cause of justice, and it derails the effective nature of the prosecutor to ensure that prosecution is done, one, in a timely manner, and two, effectively. We are not anticipating that particular challenge under the Child Marriage Act, because this is a progressive legislation that seeks to protect not just the girl child, but even the female child, the male child. You don't want a child to be a husband and cannot take care of the home. You don't want a child to be a wife and cannot take care of the home, because the responsibility will come back to the parents of those children. So we're of the view that parents and other guardians should embrace this legislation and should cooperate with law enforcement agency, not because they want to be seen going after one of their own, but because they should be seen protecting their children.
Okay, so as a part in short, unfortunately we do not have all the time. As a part in short, what would you say to parents? What would you say to caregivers, authorities in charge of all of this? What would be your final and last word to them for today?
So my takeaway on this issue will be to encourage parents, guardians, to see their children as children, and you groom them to be husband and wives, but then you don't allow them to get into marriages when they are still children. And again, it is not just the involvement of the parents or guardians. Fast forward to others that are not parents or guardians. The law prohibits them from participating in marriages involving underage children. So by word of caution, they should always be on the guard, they should always be on the lookout not to get themselves involved in such marriages. And the law also places the responsibility on all of us to bring these issues out. Once you have any information insofar as child marriages are concerned, it is our responsibility to bring them out and to assist the government in getting this message all across Sierra Leone, that people should be mindful that there is now a law prohibiting all forms of child marriages in Sierra Leone.
As we round off, Professor, an interesting takeaway that I would like you to round off with. I know you are part of the social media space, and you've seen the arguments between Africans and African American. An interesting takeaway from chapter 5, Hubert Harrison books about Africa, African American views of Africa in Harrison's day. The intellectual pursuit of white men on the whole are limited by their racial interests, such that most of them know next to nothing of Africa except in the popular sense of its being a dark continent whose only worthwhile affairs are sufficiently comprehended in the missionary and commercial exploit of white intruders. But it is just as true as the vast majority of Negroes on this side, even the intelligent and well-informed ones, and until Negro editors, lawyers, ministers, and teachers know the fact, at least about Africa and the Africans, we should not expect white editors, lawyers, ministers, and teachers to know them. Is this true still today?
Unfortunately, yes, it is true today. You know, I'm grateful to have a dual heritage. My father's Kenyan, my mother's white American, and I grew up in the US, but I traveled to Africa a lot, especially to Kenya. And so I've seen this question from both sides, and I think there's misunderstanding of both sides in terms of Africans from the continent and Africans in the diaspora. I think oftentimes Africans on the continent know very little about life in the African diaspora, or they only know maybe what they see in Hollywood movies, which is a distorted picture, and vice versa. Many Africans in the diaspora know nothing or very little about life for Africans on the continent. And so I think that's the task of us as educators, is to really show and teach across this divide, because ultimately we will never have the kind of Pan-African unity necessary to achieve liberation and self-determination unless and until Africans, both on the continent and the diaspora, can understand each other, each other's different histories and struggles and concerns, so that we can come together and unite. And I'm really excited to be hosted by the Pan-African Coalition of Sierra Leone today at 3 p.m. At the library, in order to, not just to talk about my book, but to talk about Pan-Africanism, what it means for Sierra Leone, and how we can achieve that.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Brian Koba, and of course to you, Glamour Raider, and of course to you, Council. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm afraid this is all we have time for this morning.
Yeah, but now let's move on to entertainment. Sierra Leonean singer Fine Face has set social media buzzing after sharing photos of his house online, sparking plenty of reactions and conversations among fans. Meanwhile, Sierra Leonean artist Zubi has dropped a brand new single titled Praise, featuring country boss, the former housemate Salone, Season 3 contestant.
And also in pageantry news, all roads lead to the Bintou Mani Auditorium in Freetown today as the Miss Grand Sierra Leone and Miss Universe Sierra Leone 2026 pageants are taking center stage in what promises to be a glamorous and exciting event.
And looking ahead, the Radicals Foundation is gearing up for its annual fundraising dinner set for July 25th, 2026 at 8 p.m. at the Metro Point Hotel in the United States. For the full details on these stories, let's now join Johnny.
Happy Friday, Sierra Leone. Welcome to another exciting edition of the entertainment news updates right here on Wake Up Sierra Leone. I'm your host with the most, Gianni, aka the Big Flexer, and I've got all the latest entertainment stories lined up just for you. Now, starting off with our first story, Sierra Leonean singer Fine Face certainly knows how to get the public's attention. And recently he posted a picture of his house, and many people believe it was an AI-generated image. And this sparked a lot of conversations online, and Fineface used this opportunity, to promote his latest EP that's titled Bangba and Sugar. Fortunately, I had a one-on-one interview with him, and his address was clear. Let's watch. What actually happened? So they said the house was fake, and then you actually posted the real house, but it didn't look like the one you posted. What's happened exactly?
Okay. This is the honest truth, yeah? There is nothing like AI house.
Okay.
There is nothing like AI. I don't know why people pull that story, they say it's AI. The only thing we happen now, the difference is the picture where I post online, yeah? Now a picture where they don't take, first of all, I don't me house more than 3 years ago. 4 years ago, I don't rent and people did it, tenants, up, down, boys quarter, people did it. But the picture where I post, was a picture where I don't keep for a very long time, where I just like done for fixed deals. But imagine if somebody don't build house, somebody like me, don't build house more than 3-4 years ago, I don't ever post them. So I take the house in picture, I send them to a friend.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? Now, California idea. I say, I want for refurnish my house, I want for like refix my house, for like it fine pass ID so safe.
Okay.
I say, see what I've been doing first, I've been put the fine face today, you understand? But by then I know they don't carry it Soja team yet.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? But my name been Dede, Fine Face, home of Fine Face 9 Dede. So then when I send that to my friend, now they is actually instead they do this graphics and all of that.
Okay.
Now this is say I feel like if you want to put the Soja team there, let the Soja team the under, then you name the border like that. So now into all the fixing, then he send them to me. It's the same image, it's the same house.
Okay.
So when he send them back to me, I say, wow, this is good. You understand? So then what happened, I just decided, I say, okay, let's just post my house still on social media. It was an evening. I just say, I did drive by grammar school at park. I said, I just post my house still, let people I don't see. Well, I not do them because other people post.
Well, there you have it. You heard it from the man himself. The house belongs to him. Anyway, congratulations to Fine Face, and let's continue to support him when he drops his EP. And actually, he said he built the house of music money, 90% for 4 years. So, you believe now, you don't believe now, my man was slow there. Alright, moving on. Emmanuel Sagandi, popularly known as XB and the lyrical chief judge of the AYV Cypher Uncensored, has released a new song titled Praise, featuring country boss of former housemate Salon Season 3 contestants. The track reflects on his journey from humble beginnings and difficult moments to the blessings and success he enjoys today. Let's take a listen.
this country in there.
All praises to the Most High. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. A true hustler. Yeah, it's wild, yeah. From that bank teller to that hustler in Belgium, the resident at Imerton, we block that are dead slums. One way or the other, we always suffer forget some. Cash in a jar now with protection. And take me bread and butter, but all the off and the breadcrumbs. Salomon lack love and affection. 90% of the youth get drugs and section. Some stuck by depression, some stuck by detention. Wahala boguso, some stuff I no mention. What am I no guarantee, so now God I depend on. Who still a fight, I'm not the gutter entrenched on the pre-make shit kickless, some bomber erection. Yeah. Still a try for makeup for some lost times. 90 minutes, I'm still waiting at the touchline. Facebook who challenges them since I got signed. So not so because I can smile, you could think that it's all fine.
Long time man living at the jungle.
What amazing collaboration. If you would like to enjoy the full song, make sure you check it out on AudioMac and other streaming platforms. Let's support our brothers. XV, cheers. Get ready for an amazing night as two queens will be crowned on Friday 26 June 2026 at the Miss Grand Sierra Leone and Miss Universe Sierra Leone 2026 Beauty Pageant. The event promises to be filled with fashion, class, beauty, and so much more. And as one of the red carpet hosts, you know what time it is. I'm more than ready for what promises to be a spectacular evening. So grab your tickets now, and I'll definitely see you there. Finally, America, get ready to vibe with the comrades of the Radicals Club on the 25th of July 2026 as the Radicals Foundation presents its annual fundraising dinner at the Metro Point Hotel at 8 p.m. It's going to be an evening of class, elegance, and good vibes because the comrades know how to make every event memorable, and they can do it anyhow. You know, like you said, the black card called you sweet and knowledge. You know what time it is. So once you rep, you know how sweet it is. So grab your tickets now and don't miss out. And that was my final story for today's entertainment news updates here on Wake Up Sierra Leone as we step into the weekend. Remember to unwind, stay positive, and enjoy every single moment ahead. A heartfelt thank you by my team. You know what time it is. My producer, Hannah Yankson, Remy Wilson, Isa2, and Desmond for making today's show very, very possible. I've been your host with the most, Johnny, aka The Big Flexer, bringing you the vibes and the stories. We'll be back with more entertainment highlights before you know it. But for now, it's goodbye from me, and it's back to you guys in the studio.